Story 1. A little backstory for this story. A couple of weeks ago, one of my wireless earbuds got lost, so I'm using just one. When I take the bus, I either watch some streaming content or listen to music. And today was one of those days where I decided to watch a show. When I was on the bus today, I was watching a show, and everything was going fine. The bus pulled over and picked up a mother and her child, and of course, I thought nothing of it, so I went back to watching my show. The child walked by and saw that I was watching streaming content and approached me. The nice child said, "Excuse me, can I watch this show with you?" I replied, "Sorry, I probably shouldn't let you because of health concerns, and we are supposed to keep our distance. Even if I wanted to, my other earbud is missing." So the child went and sat by his mother, and I went back to watching my show. Then came the entitled mother. "Excuse me, why won't you let my son watch your silly children's show with him?" she asked. "I was watching an animated series, by the way." "I'm sorry, I'm just not comfortable with some random child sitting next to me, using my earbuds and breathing down my shoulder while trying to watch this show with me," I explained. "But you made my little angel so sad. He really wants to watch," she insisted. "I'm sorry, but I don't want him to. Can you please leave me alone?" I pleaded. "Why would you even care about this little children's show? You're like 18, I'm 13, by the way, so I don't know what's up with her. So give me your phone and earbuds so my baby can watch," she demanded. "Oh my goodness, are you out of your mind? I'm not giving my stuff to your child because you told me to." "Now leave me alone," I responded firmly. "You know, I didn't want to do this, but you're forcing me to," she threatened. "What do you?" I began, but she interrupted me. "Give me my phone and earbuds back right now, you little troublemaker," she yelled. I just sat there frozen in shock until the entitled mother tried to steal my phone and take my earbud out of my ear. She had to crawl over me for this because it was in the ear facing away from her. Just as a reflex, I screamed, "Get away from me, you crazy person!" Then I proceeded to hit her on her hand as she was trying to get my phone and earbuds. This is when the bus driver pulled over and walked up to us. "What in the world is going on over here? You guys are causing a giant disruption, and if you don't stop right now, I'm moving both of you off," the bus driver warned. The entitled mother claimed, "This little girl stole my phone and earbuds." I countered, "That's total nonsense. She tried to steal my stuff because I don't want to let her son use my things." The bus driver said, "I don't know who to trust, so I'm going to do a little test. Can I see the phone? You guys are going to have to guess the password." The entitled mother protested, "No, that's unnecessary. It's my phone. Give it to me now." I handed the driver my phone and guessed the correct password. I have a 4-digit passcode. The driver then gave me my phone back and told her to get off the bus immediately. Story 2. This happened about an hour ago. I was grocery shopping and decided to pick up a few bars of chocolates. That's when I heard the ear-piercing scream of what can only be described as an entitled child. He looked like he was somewhere between 5 and 6 years of age. He began to violently pull on his mother's arm, pointing at my chocolate bars and yelling at her to buy him some. The entitled mother said, "Did you have to pick that up in front of him?" I replied, confused, What? "Can't you see it's upsetting my child?" she continued. "Well, that's your problem," I responded. In between trying to get her misbehaving child to act appropriately, the entitled mother demanded, "You need to put them back. My son only started demanding chocolates when he saw you take them. Just put them back. Now, you can get some later. You shouldn't make kids jealous." I just smiled at her and approached the chocolate shelves. But instead of putting them back, I actually took a few more. It earned me a death glare from her and also earned her another round of tantrums from her entitled child. Was it petty? Yes. Was it satisfying? Absolutely. Story 3. Little disclaimer, this happened 6 years ago, so health-related lockdowns have nothing to do with this. A bit of backstory, I am mildly colorblind protanopia, I think, and I have had this my whole life. I mostly struggle with telling the difference between pink and yellow, but there are more colors out there I can't see. This all started when the primary school my younger brother, 11 at the time, and not colorblind, was putting on a party fair. I don't remember what for, but I think it had something to do with fair trade. My mother made me cut out some paper chains along with other people in the gym to prepare for the fair. More and more people left until it got to the point where it was just me, another kid, and an old gentleman at the back. Remember this part. This kid was professional at making paper chains. I struggled to keep up. I was sitting closer to the piles of paper than he was. When the kid ran out of paper, he kindly asked me to pass some of the yellow paper. I pulled some pink paper out of the pile thinking it was yellow, and he looked at me confused, so I responded with, "Wait, is this pink or yellow?" He replied, "Pink," and led me to the yellow paper. I apologized and told him I was colorblind, and he started to ask questions. They were questions of curiosity, such as, "Do you see red?" or "What color is that?" Then enters the entitled mother. The entitled mother in this case was the kid's mother and had entered the gym looking for the kid's father. She overheard us talking about my colorblindness. She first said, "Sweetie, please keep your distance. I don't want you to become colorblind as well." Me, being utterly confused, replied with, "Excuse me, you can't catch colorblindness from another person." The entitled mother then proceeded to give me skeptical looks and then walked out of the gym with her son in tow. I'd say about 5 minutes later, she returned with the head of the department and said, "Yup, he's the one." The head then approached me and said, "Are you the one causing disturbance down here?" I replied, No. What do you mean?" "This woman thinks my colorblindness is contagious and that I'm going to give it to her son." The head, of course, did not believe me, being a 14-year-old at the time who slacked off a lot. My mother overheard the conversation and walked in and started to defend me until the entitled mother yelled, "Colorblindness is contagious, and you're going to give it to everyone here if you don't leave." My mom and I looked at her, utterly shocked, and the head was unaware of whose side she was on until she said, "All right, Mrs. Entitled Mother and you, young man, I'm going to ask you both to leave as you're both making a disturbance here." But then, the old gentleman at the back of the gym stood up and said, "There is no disturbance, miss. Mrs. Entitled Mother is the only one harassing anybody here," before sitting back down again. Having heard his side, the head banned the entitled mother from the school fair. Don't worry about the kid, though. He gotta go with his dad. I saw the entitled mother drive out of the school, and I haven't seen her since. Also, as it turns out, the old gentleman was the school's former headmaster. I want to make it absolutely clear that the kid did nothing wrong. It was all the entitled mother. As a response to the concern in the comments section, I received a pair of colorblind glasses in 2016, which has been helping me out massively. The head was the head of the department, not the entire school. I thought I made that absolutely clear when I mentioned head of the department when I introduced her. Story 4. For context, I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. I take legally prescribed medicine for it, and if I forget to take it in the morning, I have a couple of doses in a pill bottle from an old fill in my car. It's important to take it daily as it works better the more days I take it in a row, similar to some antidepressants. Each fill costs about $60-70, and I keep about 1/4 th of a fill in my emergency stash. So, it's the weekend, and I have plans to meet some friends at a local coffee shop. We have masks, outside seating, and sanitizer at the ready. This so happens to be a day where I forgot to take my medicine. We order our drinks and snacks, and after I put our order down at the table, I tell my friends I need to go take my medication. I go to my car and grab the bottle to bring back as I left my drink with my buddies. I get back, and as I pop the pill into my mouth and take a sip, an entitled mother appears. No distinctive haircut, but a 5 to 6-year-old kid in tow. She slaps the open pill bottle off of the table and starts screaming about how I shouldn't take controlled substances, and so on. She demands I apologize to her son for being such a bad influence and doing such inappropriate things in public. I try to explain that they are not controlled substances, but medicine for my ADHD. Then she calls the police. The police arrive, and they get our stories. After getting witnesses, the police ask me for proof that these were my medication, which I provide. At this point, the entitled mother is starting to sweat. She realizes that she messed up and is now trying to backtrack out of the situation. The police ask me if I would like to press charges, as the medications in the bottle are now ruined. I say no, as I'm not about to spend court costs over $15. The entitled mother is dealt with, And we leave, one story to tell richer. Story 5. This just happened to me, and I'm both shocked and laughing uncontrollably. I was on a bus on my way into college, listening to a punk band I've recently got heavily into, a band from Brixen in the German-speaking region of South Tyrol in Italy called Frey Wild. The bus is fairly packed, so I'm right at the front at the area where you'd park a pram or a wheelchair. A woman with a pram gets onto the bus and sits in the only free seat, next to me. She looks down at my phone. Why? I still can't work out and sees that I'm listening to a song called Sieger Stehen da auf, wo Verlier Legion bleiben, roughly translated, rather aptly, to Winners Stand Where Losers Fall, and yanks one of my earphones out. You live in Scotland. Stop listening to your crappy Polish music. Goodness, all you foreigners are all the same, refusing to be decent citizens and speak English. This is why we voted to leave the European Union. Scotland didn't. But I digress, so we could get you out of here, she said. I'm Scottish, born and bred. Apart from a week in Amsterdam, 2 weeks in Morocco, 3 weeks in the States, and a week in France, I've stayed very much in the UK my entire life. Never been to Poland, or Germany for that matter. I eventually had enough of her nonsense, so I tried to put her in her place. This is German music. Also, I was born here. To Scottish parents, I explained. The entitled mother tried to make her rebuttal, but I got there first. Also, how does me listening to some punk rock that happens to be in German affect you? I have my headphones, you can't hear it, I continued. The entitled mother's eyes lit up as if she'd won the lottery. Why are you listening to that inappropriate, unpleasant music in public? You're going to scare my kids, she exclaimed. I look in the pram and respond. Firstly, your child is sound asleep. Secondly, I have my headphones in. You can't hear it. I can't hear it. Please leave and let me listen to my music in peace. Maybe Polish people aren't the problem in this country. Maybe it's stuck-up, judgmental, racist individuals like you. As I called her out on the bus, she whacked the stop button and hurriedly exited herself and the pram right off the bus at the next stop. Thank goodness. Story 6. I knew some people could be unreasonable, but not this unreasonable. So, for some backstory, I'm a 17-year-old boy, and I ride my bike everywhere. On this particular day, I rode all the way to the other side of my hometown, 6 miles away from my house. I stopped by the mall to get myself some food because, well, obvious reasons. When I got out of the food court serves as a mall entrance too, and got back to my bike. I saw this middle-aged woman with a distinctive haircut, cheap sunglasses, in tacky clothes with her kid, a girl with short-ish blonde hair, who looked to be between the ages of 8 and 12, who seemed confused and excited at the same time. They were standing right near my bike, so I decided to walk over and find out why. Hey, excuse me, what are you doing near my bike? I asked. The entitled mother replied, Oh, it's yours? We were just checking it out. My kid has always wanted a bike. Ah, sorry, it's not for sale. It's my only mode of transportation at the moment. I'm sure you can find something nice at Walmart or Target though, I suggested. We weren't planning on buying a bike. We were hoping you could give us this one, she said. I laugh. She must be joking, right? Why would she want this pink, purple, and silver bike that's literally falling apart? Nope. She wasn't joking. What's so funny? I'm serious. If you don't want to give it to us, I might have to take it from you, she threatened. I laugh again as I get on my bike. Sorry, lady, you're crazy. Go buy one. Now leave me alone before I call the authorities, I warned. There's literally a police station not even a block away from the mall. If you won't give us your bike, then fine. Have it your way, she yelled. I rode off before she could get in her car because that sounded threatening, and I was starting to get a bit scared of this unreasonable woman. She and her daughter, who looked disappointed at that point, get in the car, and right as I get out of the mall parking lot and up to the crosswalk, where I have the right of way, I see the entitled mother's huge SUV, a black Cadillac Escalade, peel out of the parking lot and speed down the street that I'm crossing. Fortunately for me, she didn't hit me on my bike, but she almost did. Literally only an inch closer to her car, and I would probably not be here right now. She literally tried to run me over. What in the world is wrong with her? Was she trying to harm me? She screams at me through her window, no words, just angry screaming. and then she hits another car at about 40-ish mph. It looked like the people she hit were fine, just shaken up and angry. I didn't even need to call the police because they heard the bang from the crash and came over as soon as possible. The entitled mother's Escalade only had some slight damage on the front end grille, bumper, and hood. That's about it. While the car she hit, a dark blue Toyota Prius, was totaled, one of the officers who showed up pulled me aside to ask me what happened and to see if I knew anything, basically get a statement from me. I told this man everything. After giving my statement to the police, I left. The last thing I saw before leaving the scene was the entitled mother being pulled out of the car and her daughter being escorted to the sidewalk while waiting for a relative to get her. All I have to say after this incident is just, if you see Karen inspecting your vehicle's modes of transport, run. Take your stuff and run. Don't even allow the Karens to speak to you. Thanks for reading, and I hope none of you guys ever have the misfortune of running into one of these foul creatures. Stay safe, my fellow Redditors.